Okay, so I'm going to do a quick tutorial on how we go about using high tech and finish links together to do an unseeded track meet. So hopefully you're a little bit familiar with high tech and with finish links, and you're able to navigate yourselves around them a little bit. But I'm going to show you how we go about doing a meet. So the first thing, hopefully you watched the last video. In the last video, hopefully you learned how to create kind of a dummy meet. So you can create these finish line sheets. These finish line sheets are going to become important that you have these created. I've gone ahead and created one for the section meet that I'm doing already tomorrow or on Tuesday. And you'll notice that with the relays, I put the relays in. I just leave them. I leave them in there. I purge them out and then put them back in. So I've got that taken care of already. But these finish line sheets are going to become important that you have these for your clerk. The easiest way to do this, and probably if this is the first time you're doing an unseated meet, the best way you can do this is to have these exactly what I call them finish line sheets. What you're going to do is you are going to have somebody at the start and somebody at the finish. Person at the start line is just going to tell them what lanes to get in for the 100-meter hurdles or whatever race that it is, kind of your typical. Your person at the finish line, you're going to need a couple of them. You're going to need one that has to write and one to read. So what we'll do is the girls 100-meter hurdle, say that's the next event on the track. They're going to run their races in the lanes that they're assigned. They're going to stay in their lanes when they finish, and then you're just going to keep them in their lanes, and you're going to record the numbers right in here. So whatever numbered lane 1 is, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. So you're going to just record these on these sheets of paper just like they're sitting on here. And these finish line sheets are going to be huge, and we do one sheet for every single heat. It has its own, and it's important that it has its own so that you know exactly what's going on when the paper is given to you. This is heat 3, this is heat 4, when these are given to you, because it's going to become important for your finish links operator. So if we go into high tech now, and this is how we're going to kind of do it within high tech. If you look in high tech, you'll notice I've got a couple seated in here. But the first thing you're going to have to make sure that you do is you're going to need to make sure that your athletes have been assigned competitor numbers. So you go into athletes, you go into competitor numbers, male and female, starting, separate genders, hit OK, yeah, whatever. And so I've got all of my athletes assigned competitor numbers, and these are the numbers that they're going to write on their hands. Give it to the coaches prior to. They're going to put these numbers on their hands, and that's what your clerks are going to use to record who's finishing where. If we go into the run menu, the first important part of this is we have to tell finish links what finish links is going to do. So if you had a seated meet, you go into interfaces, file, sharing, you go to update start list. I do go to all on mine, and I would just simply hit OK. With an unseated meet, what you have to make sure you do is this number of heats to insert for an unseated event. You're going to want to change that number to a number, maximum number that you can have. So if you've got 16 teams on an 8-lane track, so each 2, so 30, so you got 4 heats. Put that to the maximum, and you're going to go ahead and click on OK. It's going to save it. It will have updated it already. I just have a tendency to do it a couple times. So then what your finish links operator is going to see, that was kind of funky there. I don't know if I have links open yet. So what your finish links operator will see, do I have links open? Oh, there's links. So your links operator, when he hits the question mark, or they hit the question mark, notice that there are 4 heats or sections sitting in there for each of the events. You do have to the links operator does need to be a little bit careful with that, because obviously, there's not 4 heats of the 800. Do the 800 a little bit different. I'll show you that in a second. But maybe there's not 4 sections of hurdlers. Maybe not every school has a hurdler, and you only end up with 3, but it's still going to have 4 here. So when the links operator goes on to a next event, they need to make sure that they go on to the correct one. So they're just going to click on the 100-meter hurdle. So we've got the 100-meter hurdles running right now. So the gun goes off. They're running down the track. They get done. Your recorder goes ahead and fills out this sheet with the numbers. Blah, 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 blah. Meantime, the finish links operator is doing exactly what they always do. Lane 1, lane 2, lane 3, lane 4, lane 5, evaluating always how they do it. They're not going to see any names in there. They're just evaluating by lanes, and they're going to save it. So file, save, and the links operators will have done this. Hit save. Yeah, I've already got one sitting there, but whatever. Replace it. They're done. They go down to the next one. Again, it's going to be blank, but that's okay. Again, mine's not going to have anything here simply because I don't have my camera going and operating. So you're really not going to see anything with mine because I got really nothing here. But they're just going to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, just like they normally would. They're going to save and they're going to go, save and yes, and go down to the next event. And they're just going to kind of keep rolling through, making sure that they're doing what they need to do. Meanwhile, the clerks at the finish, they filled this one out, they filled this one out, they filled this one out, they filled this one out. So we've got all of those races done. Now they're going to bring you those sheets to the high-tech operator. What the high-tech operator is going to do is they're going to go into the 100 hurdles, and you notice there's nothing here. So down in here, and I'm going to drag this up so it's a little bit higher, they're going to go in and type in the competitor numbers. So 145, 146, 147, 148, 149, 150, 151, 153. And you need to be careful. Obviously, mine are all from Crookston, but they're not going to be all from Crookston. So need to be a little bit careful with that. But you've got the kiddos in there. So there's the first heat. If the race is already done, you can go ahead and get times. No file's going to be found in mine. But something might come up here that says, this isn't what we had in finish links. That's okay. Just hit accept, and it'll fill in these times. Okay, so now we got to get to 2. So to get to 2, you're going to do Control H. Now we're on to the next one. And again, you just start adding in numbers and the numbers from the sheet that's provided. Oops. Okay. If a lane is skipped, make sure you skip that lane and just start typing down further. And again, I'm making errors because I don't know any of them, but and so on and so forth. Next heat comes, hit Control H. Next heat comes, you can put in the numbers. Control H, put in the numbers. There's no athlete found with that, of course. No athlete found with that because I'm just picking random numbers. Okay, so now you'll notice I've got 4 heats sitting here, and all of these will be done. And you can go ahead then and get times for all of the heats. Again, accept it, hit score. It will score the event, and you're good to go on to the next one. Now you'll notice I've got 4 in there right now. And you can see that they're sitting here. We got nothing in the 100. We go down to the 100 hurdles. Again, finish links operator makes sure that he does or she does exactly what's going on over here with the hurdles. They're on heat 1, there's heat 2, there's heat 3, there's heat 4. Those are all done. Go in here, click on the competitor numbers, type the competitor numbers, Control H adds heats, and you can add as many heats with Control H as you think you are going to need. With the relays, what I do with the relays is I do the relays beforehand, but you don't have to. I put them in there just because it makes it easier, but you don't have to do it. If you have the sheets, the sheets are sitting right here. That's the easiest way to do it is like this. Then they've got the hip number 1, hip number 2. So they give them the hip numbers and all of that. If you have this piece of paper sitting in here, and you don't have anything in high tech, or you don't have anything in links prior to, you can just go to adjust, and you can put the teams in the order that they are on that finish line sheet. And again, you can do this beforehand, you can do it after. It doesn't really matter. when you do that. Hit save, they're there. Again, if you didn't do it beforehand and they evaluated 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, just get times. It'll populate. Distance races. Distance races are a little bit different. How I like to do distance races is I think the distance race that ours are scheduled to have, I think 30. I think there are 30 some in our distance races. And if I was going to have them at the finish line, I got 32. If I was going to do this at the finish line, what I'm doing at the finish line is first, these are the hip numbers that they are going to be assigned. Really, you can do it by the hip number and then put them in, but I really wouldn't do it this way. I wouldn't even worry about hip numbers on distance races. I worry about positions on distance races. So from a finish link standpoint, kind of do it cross-country style, what I call cross-country style. I would just click on the first person, give them 1, enter, 2, enter, 3, enter, 4, enter, 5, enter, 6, enter, and so on and so forth. Give them the numbers that they are in order of finish. But then what your judge here has to do, what your finish line judge has to do, again, I call it cross-country style, they've got to line them up from 1st to 25th or whatever there are, and they need to write their numbers down. Don't put their hip number down. Put the number that they have in their hand down. Don't follow this. Don't worry about this. Just find a blank spot on the paper where they can just write 301 was first, 302 was second, 303 was third, 304 was fifth, 305 was sixth, and so on and so forth. And again, as your finish link operator has is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and so on and so forth. And then as the high tech operator, then I'm just coming in here and typing in the numbers. They finished 4th, they finished 5th, they finished 6th, and so on and so forth. I'm just typing the numbers down, get times, you're going to get an error. That to me is the easiest way to do distance races, and that's the way that I always like to do distance races when I get the results at the finish line. If this is your first time doing it, I would suggest highly that you do it at the finish line. If you want to do it beforehand, if you want to get the stuff, if you really want to do instant live results, you can do it beforehand. You can have a clerk of course at the beginning. That's how we do it at the state meet, at State True Team. They have these sheets down here, and as they're checking in, we just have the clerk of course record their number down, put their number down right there, and then they run these to us. We record them really quick in high tech. Then we go to and then after we get them entered, we go to update start list, and then it puts them in there. So if I update the start list now, I've put some people in here now. If you see what happens in finish links, if I update the start lists here in finish links now, you notice that the girls only has, I think it was the girls that I did. I don't remember which one I did. It was the girls. Update start list. Okay. Oh, that was the 100 dash. If I go to the hurdles for the girls, that's why I didn't see anything. If I go to the hurdles now it's what you're used to seeing when it's a seated meet. Careful. I mean, it works. It works really well. You just have to have somebody with a clerk that knows what they're doing and understands you need to get them prior to, the race starting. If you don't have them prior to the race starting, or you get one, it can create some problems. As long as you have something worked out beforehand with the clerks to get them to you before you start the next race. If you want to do them beforehand, it's a great way to do it. Just remember to hit update start list when it comes in. Then when you got to the distance races, then you're going to give them the hip numbers because you're going to have the names in there already. And the links operator does it exactly how they would have, prior to it. So that's quick field events. Quick with the field events. We just type the competitors in here, and so on and so forth, and then just put their final marks. Just make sure the judges put their competitor numbers, not their names. Make sure that judges put their competitor numbers in there. It's a lot of data entry. The high-tech operator has much more work to do in this meet than the links operator. Well, that's probably usually the case, but it's really the case in this meet. The high-tech operator does a lot of data entry in meets like this. Okay. If you ever have any questions, please, my number is on the website. Give me a call. I'd be happy to help. And again, don't hesitate to call if you have some questions.